This is the defensive positioning video. We will go over perimeter defense and rotation defense. Now in club, we've been using perimeter more, but it is good just in case we have to switch mid-match to rotational for you to know and understand both. So we will be going over both in this presentation. This is base, and whether we are doing perimeter or rotation, base does not change. Our libero and setter are on the 10-foot line, ready to get tips, mainly my libero getting those tips or setter dumps, and our outside hitter or middle back defender is going to stay deep on the court because they have to get the deep corner balls in zone 5 or 1, excuse me. So this is for a right side attack. You can see the libero goes down the line for this. Our outside hitter takes one small step or at least faces that right side hitter. Our setter goes off the shoulder of the middle blocker to get the cross shots, and the right side is the off blocker. They need to be on the 10-foot line ready for the tip. So libero again has the line drives and the tips right behind the block. Right side offside blocker gets the tips in zone 2 and 3. Setter has the cross court, and our outside is responsible for both corners, so that's when it's very important to read the hitter. So if you see the hitter really opening up and facing cross, you can take a step to the right. If you see them trying to go line, you could take another step to the left, but know that you are responsible for both corners, and we call that overlapping. So even if like the libero is going for the ball that's a line-driven shot, you should be going behind them in case it goes over their head or they don't get a good touch on the ball. You're there to support them. And that's the same in the other direction. If they're going cross, you should be following or overlapping behind the setter or in front of the setter to get that ball, just in case. So we should always have 2 defenders in the area of the ball, hopefully. Now that does leave a hole in the middle of the court, and ideally our libero or our middle back defender would get that ball. Now if it is closer to the 10-foot line or like right over the 10-foot line, I do expect the off blocker, in this case the right side, to take that extra step, put a high ball up, and then transition to hit quickly. This is our middle attack. So our outside helps block the middle, which means my right side is the off blocker again, ready for tips. Libero stays a little high on this, outside of the outside's shoulder for the cross to our left, the hitter's right. Setter goes a little deeper off the middle blocker's shoulder to get the cross on our right side of the court, left side of the attacker. And our outside hitter, again, has to read the hitter. So they do, in this presentation, stay right behind the block in case there's a hole in the block. But if you see the middle committing to one side or the other, you can take the extra steps to help defend the deep corners. So you see libero has the tips to zone 4 and those cross shots in even sort of covering that deep corner. Right side has the tips to zone 2 and 3. Setter has the other cross, and again our outside covering both corners, overlapping with our libero and setter like we talked about for the outside hitter. So we should, if the ball is hit in zone 5 deep, we have 2 people, libero and the middle back, both going for the ball, overlapping and communicating as to who actually would get the ball. And same for going deep into zone 1. Outside hitter could commit to that side and overlap behind the setter or step in front of the setter to take that ball so the setter can release. Again, our hole is in the middle of the court. So libero and middle blocker, or not middle blocker, middle back should be getting that ball. But again, if it's closer to the 10-foot line, my right side can step in, put a high ball up, and then release to hit quickly. And setter making sure we release as soon as we know that ball is not ours. This is the outside attack. So now our outside hitter is the off blocker at the 10-foot line. The libero does not go super deep on this. They should stay outside of the shoulder of the middle blocker. The outside, again, takes a small step to the right, or at least faces that outside hitter. And the setter goes down the line. But they are still responsible for the tips over the block. So you see libero has a whole zone of 5 of coverage. Our outside hitter has the tips to the left side of the court. Our setter has the line drives and tips over the block, and outside again, covering both corners. So again, reading the hitter is very important for the middle back. And overlapping behind the setter for the line drives, and overlapping with the libero on the left side of the court. Again, our hole is in the middle, and as always, libero or middle back should be taking that ball unless our outside hitter, it's close enough to you or right over the 10-foot line. You can step in, put a high ball up, and then transition to hit quickly. Now we're moving to rotational. So the biggest thing is that you rotate with the ball. This is more important specifically to the middle back. So think about if the ball is set to your left, you are stepping to the left more. If the ball is set to your right, you're stepping to the right more. And whoever is directly in front of the hit stays up for tips. So you can see in this right side attack, the libero is right in front of them, so they're staying up for tips. And because the ball is set to our left, the middle back shifts left towards the line. Now, depending on how good the other team is at hitting line, we might pull all the way line. But in this presentation, they're kind of staying more like in the seam between 5 and 6. The setter does come a lot deeper for the rotational attack because they have all the cross-court responsibility. And our right side is, again, on the 10-foot line, ready for the tips. So libero gets the tips over the block and into the middle of the court. Right side gets the tips to zone 2 and 3. Setter, again, has those cross shots. And outside is more dedicated to the line. So there's less overlap between the outside hitter and the setter. So if that ball is hit cross, it is mainly the setter's ball. If the ball is hit line, that is the outside hitter's ball. The hole in the middle is a lot smaller on this. But again, my libero middle back should be taking that ball. Right side can help if it's closer to the 10-foot line. This is the middle hitting for rotational defense. Libero comes just slightly off the 10-foot line because they will take the hard-driven cross shots, but also tips into zone 4. Our right side is off blocker again, getting tips. Setter's coming deeper off the middle blocker shoulder. And my outside steps more to the left because our setter or our libero is staying a bit further up into the court. But as well as with perimeter, the middle back can be reading the hitter and take a step right to help our setter if you see that hitter is going to hit that direction. So you can see, again, right side's getting tips. Setter's getting basically all of zone 1. Outside hitter is more focused on the deep corner on the other side of the court. And libero has a lot of responsibility short of the left side of the court and in the middle of the court. And again, the hole is in the middle. So libero middle back can release to get that, or as well the right side can step in, put a high ball up, and then transition to attack quickly. And lastly, we have our outside hitter. So the setter is right in front of the hitter, so they're going to stay up for the tip. The ball was set to the right side, so my middle back takes more steps to the right, covering the line behind the setter. Libero does come deeper in this one because they have most of the cross-court responsibility. And the outside hitter is the off blocker getting the tips. So again, outside getting the tips in 3 and 4. Setter getting tips over the block. Outside hitter dedicating to the line behind the setter. And libero gets a lot of the cross shot responsibility. The most important thing, no matter what we're doing, is that the block is formed and our defense is setting up behind or around the block. So blockers have an important job. It's not just to get touches, but it's just to take up space so the defense can set up correctly behind you. And I want my blockers really to commit to the block this weekend. Again, our hole is right in the middle. So libero outside, middle back passer, or the outside that's the off blocker should step in and take that ball so our setter can release. And then I told you base is the same for rotational or perimeter, and that is true because our libero should be taking in to get the setter dump short, middle back, staying deep to cover our corners. And then I noticed in our film that our middle back is cheating up, and that's why we got killed on our deep corners last tournament. So let's make sure we stay deep for the middle back defense. If you have any questions, just text me. and we can talk about anything that you need clarification for.